Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Cities by Steven. You're talking to Steven. Welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time here, please hit that subscribe button. Get that bell notification on too, so you don't miss out on a video. Welcome back to the channel where last time we were here, we built up our first tram line and our tram depot, a custom tram depot, and a whole kind of industry area around that. And that kind of set us up well for this episode where we'll be building the waterfront and connecting a tram into the waterfront. Going to be a key video for the upcoming kind of growth of the city, and I am excited to bring that to you today. One thing before we start, if you have Discord or if you like to join the Discord, I have a Discord channel with the other members of the Skylines 6 called City of Friends, and I highly recommend that you join it because some fun and exciting things happen on the Discord. So it's a ton of fun. Come on in, join us, hang out, and have a blast. All right, so let's take a look at what we did last episode, which is right here in this part of the city, and it's just kind of just out of the way from where we'll be building today in the waterfront. We're kind of in between Oracle Bay and Port Roberts here. We have a bit of an industrial hub, and we have a custom tram depot. And what makes it custom? Well, we have the tram depot asset, but we've utilized these warehouses to be kind of tram depots as well, or tram maintenance kind of buildings. So there's been a few changes since the last episode. I've added in a few commercial assets here, over here, just to kind of fill in the blanks. Added in a bit of parking lots, and I also removed any traffic that can flow through this corridor here, removing this four-way junction and just having it be for the trams. Makes a lot of sense. And I also added in a security gate, aka a toll booth. Right here, and that kind of slows down the traffic flowing through this area, and I think it makes a lot of sense to have that there. And I've also added in a fire and police center right over here with a big bite burger. I think that asset works fantastically right there. Then if we just go down this area over here towards the market, I've added in a bit of offices right in this zone to kind of help with the height disparity that these larger buildings, these larger condos in the marketplace kind of added. Plus that helps eat away at our always high industry demand. I've also tweaked the bike networks. Let's see if we can get a nice little view. So there's just a bit more there. I think this one, for example, goes all the way out to here. We have another one that goes right out to Monarch Avenue, this main avenue through the city, and another one that connects up into here. So I've just added a bit of bike lanes where I saw fit. But we come down to here where we have our temporary tram turnaround right in this zone. And here's the tram. And this is kind of going to be where we will be building today. All right, so what is the plan for this episode? Well, we are going to be doing some redevelopment in this zone, and then also kind of looking at how we're going to play into the waterfront area through here, particularly around these old railways that are still in the city. These would have been the original railway tracks that came into this area. We are saying that, historically, this city is set on the west coast of Canada in British Columbia. And what would have happened back in the day is that the rails would have come right down to the waterfront where, goods are shipped on and off boats and exported and imported, and then, back on the rails and into the inner parts of Canada. So there's tons of these little towns that kind of spawned up with the railways right along the waterfront. And nowadays, these cities are kind of struggling to redevelop them in a way because, these are most likely provincial plots of land. There's always some politics and logistics involved in all of that redevelopment. So usually you kind of see these areas get redeveloped into transit because those types of zoning are rather similar, but also, parks and whatnot. So we're going to be kind of taking this area in here and starting that redevelopment project. So what can we do with that? Well, I was thinking a very clean transition is going from these cargo rails to tram rails. So that would be pretty simple. What we're going to do is we're going to bring this tram line down, which we brought down into this area last episode. Just swing them in, and we'll have a tram depot, or not tram depot, tram hub in this zone where we'll have a connection with a ferry. I'm also thinking of adding in some historical buildings, some historical elements, maybe a museum or something like that. And then on top of that, we'll look to redevelop these 2 blocks by the waterfront. Now, this is industrial zoning, so I don't want to change it up too much because I like that legacy impact. But I think we can redevelop it, get a bit of height. We are kind of on the lower end of a hill here towards the water, so that height is going to be important for everything. Plus, our only high density is over here and over here, but this is kind of the real hub of the area. So we'll have that tram line go through here. We'll also get a second tram line that goes along the waterfront into Oracle Bay, but we're not going to really do much with that today. I'm just going to get that tram line set up. And that is what we're going to be starting off the episode with. So, tram lines. I'm kind of aiming for the tram kind of stop to be right in this block here. We might have to extend out into this block. Block as in, you can see that the street would come down through here. I'm going to try to keep it all in this zone because then it leaves us a bunch of space to do some other fun stuff with. So I know we spent a lot of time getting these rails in, but that was really just to develop this grid pattern and to kind of create that nice right of way. We are not going to just remove the rails entirely because I think I'm gonna squeeze a rail line through here, and we might get some sort of cargo access, or at least legacy cargo access, historical cargo access to an older port here. So I think that is really important. Why don't I actually start with that? All right, so we have this future connection right through here. I don't really mind a level crossing here. This isn't going to be the busiest streets. During this process, I want to get at least 2 connections in this zone, this being one of them, for example, onto Wharf Street here, because that will be important. Oh, speaking of Wharf Street, that reminds me, we have some names that I've added in. So we're going to go to Oracle Bay for these names, and along here, we have Ocean Street, which was named by a fellow Steven in the comments. So this main street through Oracle Bay is called Ocean Street. And then right through here, this second street right through here, is called Lilith Street after David's dog. And then this one is named Beezy Street, also after David's dog. So if you have left your name suggestions for roads in the comments, and they haven't been added yet, that is because they are being saved for a particular build in the future. Okay, so we have removed we've kind of added a bit of rail right through here, and I think we can do a bit more with the kind of legacy rails down the line, but let's focus on the trams. So we're going to remove this because I know that I want to get the tram kind of turnaround / main station right through here. So if we go into the tram roads, we have our tram tracks. Now I do have this really important tram road through here. This is a 2-lane or 2-track one-way road. This is from the workshop. It is very useful for hubs, mainly because otherwise you have to use the single tracks and they get used up pretty quick. I mean, as in like they get really busy. All right, so here is kind of the main central hub of these trams. So we have this 2-lane one-way road, so we can have a stop on the inside, we can have a stop on the outside of this, and then we have a connection up through here, where in the future, we can get another tram connection in here. I think it's important that we get this right in this little junction here because we can then bring it up 8th Street right up to Monarch or something like that, or we can, bring it up through 8th Street and then turn it at any point, which will be nice. Okay, so we were looking at, before we had a single road right through here, which ran in these two squares, just like here. So that would have been the original right of way. I shouldn't have deleted it so hastily. So we're going to make sure that we have our main access coming in through that original right of way. That is important because it makes things really easy for planning purposes when you stick with predetermined and historical rights of way. So we're going to connect that up to Front Street here, where we'll need to go into Node Controller and square the node, maybe a little bit further. There we go. And now we have a nice clean connection. So now we can connect up into our, circle here. So we only really need a single lane track coming off of this, but we will go right into our double track right away. Connect up like that. There we go. We'll go into Node Controller because we can really widen this node, make it seem realistic. So we can just start off by squaring it, pulling this back, and opening up both sides quite significantly. Okay, so now a tram coming from this side can go into either track here in theory, because I'm not sure if the tracks actually line up like that. And then also any tram can turn around this loop as well. That is also important to have because we're going to have trams going up 8th Street here in the future. Okay, so we've now accessed Front Street here, and I was thinking we could run a tram along the waterfront on a separate grade here, but we don't have a ton of space on this side, so I think in this section we will run the trams along the Front Street Road here. It's also not that busy of a street, but I do think we could have a grade separated tram road. So we'll use the vanilla one, which I love that this is a vanilla road now, where the trams are in the middle of the road. And before we get any farther, I'm just gonna make sure that I turn the zoning off of these streets because we've already established that. Same thing here, pause the game, Z, remove zoning, perfect. Okay, so now right along this part though, where we kind of curve, we are going to reintroduce a separated tram and vehicle system. So let's go into transit here, back to our tram roads, 2-lane tram track, and we'll just bring it out to here. Actually, maybe we can go one more. Yeah, let's go one more. Don't like how much space we have. Now I could do some reclaiming, but I think the angle of approach towards this gorge here is going to be pretty similar if we were to separate the grade versus if we just stayed on this road. So let's just upgrade this one. There we go. And then Z. Oh, never mind. Looks like we were using that. And I've ruined this building. Gotta get that zoning back on quick. There we go. Even though we're playing paused. Okay, so now right here, we can then introduce this separation of tram track and vehicle road. All right, so now we have this tram line running along the side of this intersection here. We've tweaked the intersection. We've added in a few extra lanes through here going up to Monarch Street. But this is going to, flow really well because now we have a separated tram track. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to bridge from this corner here directly across, trying to miss this rock here. I don't really mind moving them a little bit. And then we'll come down to ground level again along the waterfront in Oracle Bay. So let's grab this tram track and we'll go into elevated mode. All right, so now we can get back down to ground level here. There we go. And then what I'll do is I'll leave a I'll leave 2 spaces between. Actually, maybe we should just go up to 1 space, or should we run right parallel to this road? Tricky, because I don't want to kind of hinder any potential road connections in the future into this area, maybe for condos or something like that. But this whole area could just be like a nice big long walking park. I think it's probably a safe bet for now because we're not going to be really building out over here in today's episode. But I think it'd be a safe bet if we just kind of leave 1 block and go right in between them like this. So let's go right from this one, and I will bring it out to here, just like that. Very good. And then we can get a nice clean curve in through here. All right from about here, we are going to go right into this intersection in Oracle Bay along Ocean Street now. And we can get back to a tram road. So I'm thinking this is a pretty busy street. I think we could do well with a shared road. So instead of a separated road like this one where the trams have their own track, this one will have a shared system. We'll go right down the line here, where right at this intersection, we're just going to do a really quick and simple turnaround. I don't want this to be the actual terminus for the area. This is just temporary. I'm not looking to build out in Oracle Bay today. This is just a very temporary turnaround point for this tram because I want to get it working in today's episode. All right, so I'm not going to worry about it too much how this looks because this is very temporary until we build out here, because we'll get another tram line through here. This tram line that we're building right now might continue on in this direction. We just don't have anything else built over here, so why not just build the turnaround right there? Makes sense to do for the time being. But okay, so we have this tram road here where we have the trams sharing the road. And that is totally okay to do in this instance. And then we have it turning onto its own road here, where we can fix this node, make it a little bit smoother, and then we come all the way through here, up the bridge, and down along the waterfront, right into here. So that's a pretty good system, particularly for commuters going from Oracle Bay over to here, where we're going to have maybe a ferry depot, which will then ferry us across the river to our future downtown core. So I think this is a good system to get in place. All right, so now let's connect up our 2 rail systems. Sorry, our current rail line, which will extend from this turnaround point into here. We'll get another one into Oracle Bay. So that means that we're going to need to change up those roads. That was our former temporary turning point. And now we can move the stops around. So let's go into our tram stops. And look at that. I think we can move the stops. Yeah, I think this is an okay point to get them to turn around. Or sorry, to get a stop. Right there. Yeah, that's a fine distance. And then the next stop is just going to be along here. So we'll have 1 stop here. And I suppose we can leave it at that. I do get that people will probably want to use this to get to the ferry as well. So maybe we can... So it looks like we can only get 1 stop right in the middle there. But if we grab node control, or not node controller, network multi-tool, we can add in an extra node right here. And this should allow us to get another stop. So we can have one stop right through here. Fantastic. I don't know why it's saying that it's not working. There we go. And then if we get another line, let's say we get a stop for this right along Front Street here. So we have that transfer point. We can then get this one to stop right here. So we have those 2 tram stops right there, and then we have other options for the future. All right. Then we'll get this one to stop right here again along Front Street. Then the next stop for this is going to be somewhere in here, but we haven't developed this area yet. So we're just going to place down a couple temporary stops. And then right along in this zone, get a nice simple stop right here. That makes sense. And then we'll get just one more. And for now, we'll just put it on the turnaround. No, we'll get it right here. Okay, so we got Oracle Bay 1. So those trams are going to be leaving the tram depot right about now. Here they are. I went with these more modern looking ones for Oracle Bay because this is like a revitalization kind of tram line. You know, we've redeveloped an area, so I thought a modern tram would work nicely. So those ones are going to go all the way down to Oracle Bay. It's going to take them a little while, so we could help them out a little bit by building a tram line right down here and connecting it up. Why don't we just do that right through here, because I'm thinking we could get a second tram line into Oracle Bay at some point. So yeah, I think this is fine to do. Let's see if that tram will actually take that route. No, it's not. Okay, I'm surprised. Figured that they would, you know, take the opportunity to go into this side over here. Oh, that one is okay. That's good. So we could, in theory, get a tram going from Oracle Bay into up to the train station now, which could be good in the future, but we're not ready to do that yet. Okay, so we've done that now. What has now happened is we've kind of made one of these buses not obsolete, but we need to change up their routes a little bit. So I'd rather not have these buses stop on the tram route. All right, so I'm done messing around with those because it works. It works now. That is fantastic to see. So look at that. We have an amazing tram line running all the way down through there, and hopefully we see people starting to use them soon. Okay, so we need to get a connection or two into this area of Wharf Street. We also need to get a few other elements in here and some redevelopment. So I was thinking that if there's ever a connection where we can get another road in through here to access Wharf Street, it's probably via this node. We already have the trams on this intersection, so I guess it just makes sense to do that. So we're gonna need to come out a little bit. All right, so we have one connection here, and I did say I wanted to get a second connection, so maybe we can find that spot, maybe right here, for example. All right, so this is going to take us into the next kind of step. So we've already kind of redeveloped this area. What can we do next? Well, there would have been a train station here. These rails coming in through here would have been, for cargo, but also for people. The Trans-Canadian Railway would have run into here, in theory. That's kind of the historical fiction that we're playing with. So I was thinking we could get a train station in here. Now, I did attempt to maybe try and get one of the older styles of train stations into here and get the trams running through them, but it didn't really work that well. So I think this second option here is actually going to turn out better. Let's go to the content creator packs and look at the seaside resorts, because there is one building in particular which you may be familiar from if you watch Fort Prairie, my other ongoing series that we're taking a bit of a hiatus from it. But this one looks so much like a train station, or at least you could get the idea that it might have been at one point. So let's bring this one right into here, just like that. And look at this. It could be some sort of railway museum or something like that. I like how tight it is on the road, because that definitely would have been, the roads were a lot smaller back in the day. So I think we can develop some sort of park with this as well. In the zone, it could lead us into something. And then if we separate the rails right here, let's bunk it out a little bit more. We have another opportunity to do something with the history of the area right after we smooth out all this terrain, because apparently when we put the rails in, it messed up some of the heights. Okay. We have a really cool building in here, which is the locomotive halls, which I've seen people use as a museum, or sorry, as an actual kind of turnaround hub. What are they called? Roundhouse, where they turn around locomotives. But to me, this looks more like the building was built in the style of a roundhouse, but it's a museum instead. So I think if we get this just right in this area, so that it looks like this bump of the wall and this bump are right on the sidewalk of Front Street, we could get this to look really, really nice. Now, I actually have gone into BOB already and removed some of the parking from this asset. So that's why if you're like, wait a second, this doesn't look exactly right. That is because I have gone into BOB and removed the parking. Okay, very good. So look at this. It looks like maybe an old building that they converted. Maybe this main kind of piece was a warehouse or something like that, and then they've added on to it. But now it's a museum, and I think we could make this kind of area a railway museum. So it goes right up to the train station, and what we can do then is grab these rails in their original form, because we haven't deleted these parts, right? And bring them in a little bit further. So this one can, let's turn off node snapping, because I don't want it to snap into the tram line there. But there we go. And then we can bring this one maybe a bit further. And then this guy can continue. Actually, maybe it won't, because we need to get this road to connect in. All right, so what I'm thinking of is this is kind of the paid museum, and then this is some sort of open air museum to the area. That could be cool. Maybe we could even shrink it down a little bit to get a bit of waterfront. Maybe right through here we can separate that. Yeah, I think that could be good. And then we could even run a third road in here. That could be cool. And then we remove these rails. Kind of create a bit of separation here. The original rails are still here. I have technically not deleted all of the rails that ran through this zone. Not yet, at least. There we go. Okay, let's make sure that these ones are at the same height. All right, so now we have an open little area here for buildings or a park. That is great. So one thing I want to get is I want to get one of these rails to go kind of, in quotes, into this area. So if we just bring this one out like that, then if we just grab this node, we can bring it in a little bit further like that. There we go. And then we can delete this rail connection into there because it's no longer needed. And we can turn this whole lot into parking for the museum because, you know, people would drive in just for this museum. Plus, if you look on Google Maps in New Westminster, which is kind of the themes that I'm taking from this area, there's a lot of parking at the waterfront. So I guess it makes sense, especially if there are old industrial lots, right? All right, so we have a nice big parking lot in here. I think there's one more thing we can do, seeing as, especially that this is no longer a functioning rail, we can probably get a couple historical train assets or something like that. Maybe some trains get parked here. We can get just a simple bridge across for pedestrians. I think that would be very useful. So we're going to use the amusement park path because I think this one has the best bridge elements to it. All right, so I think we can obviously add a ton more to this area when we do a detailing time lapse at the end of the episode. But I think this is a good start. Plus, we get another connection down to the waterfront from here, which is good. I definitely like that idea of that pedestrian connection. Okay, so we got the railway museum. We got the actual historical railway. We got a tram turnaround here. What else do we need? What else is there that we could do? Well, we definitely need that ferry station, which was the whole point of getting that tram line in here. Once we do this, I'll then work on doing a bit of redevelopment and plopping down of some fun assets. So the ferry line, what do we need? Well, we need a ferry depot, but I don't think I want to get the ferry depot in here. Plus, this isn't important because we're not actually needing to use the ferry at the moment. There's no reason for us to need it because we don't have anywhere to go. So let's plop this down right here. Okay, so we have this depot in here now. And what can we do to kind of add to it? Well, if we go into Network Multi-Tool and we click Unlock feature, we unlock the road segment that the ferry stop came in, or came with. We can then go into Node Controller, or I guess we could have done that in Network Multi-Tool too. Then we add a node right here, and look at that, it has a crossing. And that is perfect because it goes right to the tram stops, right? So we've created our own tram-ferry depot. Now, there was a tram-ferry depot that came with the new updates, but I thought that this custom one fit the city better. All right. So what else do we need to do? Well, we need to kind of develop along the waterfront here. And what can we do to do that? Well, we definitely need a key because, you know, a seawalls, or the famous seawall in Vancouver is something that is, amazing. And it's something that I'm definitely taking into consideration while we're doing this build. But I think we can reclaim some of this land through here in line with the ferry depot or a ferry hub, and then we can get the pier to run close to what we need it to be, just based off of the asset. Now, I was thinking that we could use the new key, but I hope people can walk on it. A city key with trees and space for pedestrians to walk. Okay, so I'm hoping that this actually works and people can walk along this. So I'm just going to place this down right here. We'll kind of tweak it in a bit. But it looks like if we just run it right down here, we should be good. Let's see if we can get some guidelines on. That'd be nice. There we go. All right, so there we have it. We just now need a few ways to get onto the key itself, and I have a few fun ideas that we could do. So let's grab this road, for example, and we'll just bring it right up to here. And I definitely want a road with parking, because I think that'll be important. Then we get it to the same height as the key itself. Now, people should technically be able to walk on that as long as everything remains the same with each feature or the features of this key, as if it's any other kind of walking path in the game. So hopefully that is the case. And then just for now, I'm just going to use this very simple concrete path. We're just going to connect up to here with that. Yeah, look at that big snap that it did. So I would assume that people can get onto the key from here. Okay, so we need to update the tree on this. So I think the young linden tree is probably the most realistic. Just a simple young tree. And okay, so that looks great. Now we can add maybe another road right here. And then down to a proper height. All right. And then this kind of creates a bit of a little park-ish area right through here, right? So I think maybe what we can do is just get a little path right here, just along the side. Just to kind of add a bit of flair. So this is from Larry Skylines in the workshop. So definitely recommend this. So quick to add detail to this area, right? We have a bit of a walking path through here, but we'll come back to the detailing at the end of the video. Okay, so we have a cool opportunity to do some condos along the waterfront. This is a really popular theme to get like these large condos along the waterfront. So I think this is a perfect opportunity right in here. So let's take a look at the district that we have in place. Port Roberts Waterfront. It is these two districts in here, or these two blocks. Goes up a little bit, and then right along the waterfront here. So I want to change the style of everything in this zone. This is going to be a little tricky to manage. We might even need to draw in a secondary district. Okay, so I've kind of flipped the names around. So Old Port Roberts is the original district. And what is that going to have? Well, this is going to have Modern City Center. Even though it says Old Port Roberts, I think it makes sense that we have Modern City Center. So what else what can we add in here? Well, we have industry and commercial. So I'm hoping that the industry stays as forestry. Then we get, in these commercial areas, we get the Modern City Center buildings. That would be awesome. And then in Port Roberts Waterfront, I want to make sure that we keep the same zoning that we currently have. So that is the forestry industry right through here. Okay. But also I want the Green Cities condos. I like to use the Green Cities as like both condos because I think it's really useful. And you know, they look like real condos. Okay, so let's go into a bit of a spree of deleting and reapplying some commercial. Awesome. Okay, so look at this. These buildings look so nice along here, particularly these ones. Holy cow, that looks great. Yeah, so I'm gonna play with this to make sure that the there's no awkward little spaces. But I like the idea of keeping like the old post office in here, kind of stuff, and the mixing of these areas is great with these old industry zones. I think we'll get some medium density along this block in the future, kind of help with the height disparity. But I think it's time to get some new residential in through here as well. So I really like the kind of look as well of the forestry industry mixed in with it. It shows that the area is definitely transitioning, but there's probably some zoning issues um, because it's quite a big issue changing the zoning from industry to any other use. Uh, so let's see what else we can do, and that is to add in some condos. So I think I changed the districts up. So, oh yeah, this one is a part of commercial, so it should be high density commercial. There we go. And the really tight mixing of the zones should really create a really unique kind of build. So there are a few unique buildings that we could try and fit in here. So if we go to the skyscrapers, yes, skyscrapers, there's a couple small-ish ones, which I'm thinking might be able to work. This one, that's the big version. That's also big. Okay, I thought this one was a lot smaller. Yeah, okay, I thought that was a lot smaller. That's the one I was kind of banking on. So let's call a mulligan there. I think there are a few other kind of buildings that we might be able to add in. Let me just take a quick little peruse around. No, okay, nothing really worked perfectly. So let's turn zoning off of this road here, because I really want to try and get a nice I was really hoping that we could get zoning right, or some zoning right here, but I guess not. But if we put it on this side, we can. Okay, so let's get a nice simple 3x3. Let's go with 3x4s on this side. These are nice buildings. We can get some nice big condos through here, and then right in the middle of each of these, just perfectly centered. Let's get a few more. Actually, maybe let's keep this side open, and we'll have condos right through here. Have an open access right there, and then we can get a few larger condos along this side. All right, and then we have this open space here, which can easily be a park of some sort. So we can, just plop in a park asset, which would be cool. Let's take a look at some of these new ones. Birthday Plaza, hey. So I totally forgot water. Of course I did. So let's bring in the water pipes down Wharf Street here. That is great. It looks like there's a bit of difficulty with getting in some of the zoning in here. I wonder if we can add in a bit of high density residential to kind of fill these gaps. Okay, we can. Okay, I was worried that the fact that it was modern city center was going to kind of hinder the the addition of other types of zoning, which was my worry. So that almost makes me want to add in the self-sufficient buildings in here. Okay, so I will kind of play around with this off camera, make sure that all of these are perfectly squared off as if they were originally planned. But this is looking good, folks. I'm definitely enjoying the look of this. That is too small of a building for what we're using it for. Okay, so let's add a bit more to the waterfront access, right? So this would have been some sort of port at some point, right? So I think we can kind of lean into the fact that there should be a bit more waterfront assets. If we go into the seafront, or the, what's this called again? Seaside resorts. There is like a pavilion like this, which could be neat to add in. Could be really cool to kind of extend out into this area a little bit. There is another one right here. It's a bit smaller. Maybe this one is a bit more realistic to throw in. Yeah, this is really cool. Maybe this is a historic pier of some sort. Yeah, I like this. Because we do need to do a bit of land reclamation through here. So I wonder if we kind of throw this over on this side, for example. See if we can get it to look like it belongs. Or does that look realistic? Looks like there's this giant block underneath it. I'm not the biggest fan of that look, so I almost want it to be a bit closer to the ground, not just stuck out so far into the water there. So I guess what we should do is maybe do a bit of land reclamation. Yeah, that looks good. Looks like maybe it's an older version of this ferry pier or something like that. Now there were a few other seaside resort assets as well, like this giant pier, but this is way too big. And there's this more pavilion-esque type building, which maybe we could kind of get in this kind of zone. So let's just pause the game while we do this and see if we can get this one to kind of work. I wonder if we almost hide it in the key a little bit like this. So we can make it so it kind of looks like it's supposed to be here. And then we can almost center it a little bit, but let's check out the building. Nice. Okay, I like the fact that it looks like it doesn't look like it's just kind of this giant brick underneath it. I do like the kind of look of this, folks. This is cool. Does it make sense? Yeah, I think so. We could still have a bit of a park through here. And it looks like people are just going to walk right through it, though, along the quay. But nothing I can do there. But we did succeed in kind of making it look, hiding the trees of this quay wall and centering it along this asset. And yeah, this is really cool. Okay, so now we need to kind of bridge the gap, this massive gap right here, with a few smaller pier assets. So we have like the fishing pier, for example. That is a cool one, but can we get it to work with the quay wall here? Let's see. Very cool. That lines up perfectly too with that. I like that a lot. Okay, what other assets are there? Because I feel like we can just put a couple of these in. The restaurant pier. Okay, so this one I think can get a bit closer to this pavilion here, because that makes a ton of sense. It's a restaurant pier, and we'll just lower it into the ground a little bit again, and then swing around like this, and then we can get it so that it looks like we have to step up a little bit onto the quay there. Okay, and it is a British restaurant. Okay, makes sense. Fish and chips, I guess. All right, and then let's see if there's another one we can get in. I really like the look of this area. Once we get this all cleaned up, I think this is going to look very nice. I particularly like these condos. I'm going to let them get a little bit taller. I'm not going to limit it too much with making them historical or whatnot. But I definitely think that we're on the right track here, folks. Looking good. Okay, so what else do we have to do? Detailing, and then maybe making this, obviously adding to this park a little bit. I like the idea that we had here is just to fill this with plaza assets. It's going to really add in a lot of land value into the area and whatnot. Okay, and then we have to detail up the trams here. Okay, wow. I think we did a good job here. And then maybe extending the quay a little bit, I think, is something that we could easily do. Now, I think I'm going to change up the quay wall and go with this one here, just the simple seawall. Okay, so we have this awesome quay wall running along here, which is going to really add to the land value of the area. And then just right in here, Sorry, I meant land value, not in reality, but not in the game's values, but in reality it would. But also, we'll be able to squeeze in some like park assets and stuff like that, which I think is really great. I suppose I should really pull this node right through here for safety reasons. There we go. And if I grab this node, we can lift it up a little bit. Just until we start seeing it clip, I guess, on either building. Nice, it's not. Okay. Very good. Okay, so we've set ourselves up nicely for some detailing. Any other spots where we could get some sort of condo? Right in here. Here, probably. Do I have any train assets downloaded? Because I did have to do... I did a big audit of everything before we started this series, and there was some old train props that we used in Fort Prairie that are taking up like an incredible amount of space. So I just removed them. Yeah, so I'll get some more, and we can add them in this area to make it a bit of a historical kind of walk through. Okay, so I think I wouldn't mind getting like another condo here and here. Just because I like the fact that we need that height. And anything else? Right in here, I think maybe we could get a condo, just one right there. Maybe a secondary one right here. All right. Any other areas that we can transition? Yeah, right in here we could probably eliminate and upgrade to high density. And then, well, let's see if this is going to be, or what district this is in. Okay. I think we'll save all of this for kind of an upgrade of everything where we'll get medium density down this street, and then we'll kind of get them up the main streets. Just to kind of add that height disparity, or that, you know, that those stepping stones of height up, and, you know, transit-oriented developments as well. Along the main streets, you get the larger buildings. But if we're looking at this now from a distance, we see less of a sloping down towards the water, because as we're sloping down, the buildings are getting taller, so we're staying level with Monarch Street here, which is a really cool kind of urban planning that I was hoping to accomplish. And then, yeah, we have some great waterfront assets here. Clear kind of transitional of use and whatnot. All right. So let's hop into a detailing time lapse, where I'll detail up everything from over here down the waterfront into this zone. So we'll start over here. Well, we'll kind of, you know, add in some park assets. And that reminds me before, oh my goodness, I need to drag down our park area into this zone so that we can get those extra points for leveling up Victoria Park level 5. So we'll include the plazas because that will already, yeah, there we go, already level 4. Fantastic. Now can we achieve level 5 at in the same time, because that would be really convenient. Okay, Victoria Park. We just need to get a bit of entertainment value in to get it to level 5, and that will be easy to do. So, oh, we did a bit of a jump there. There we go. We'll start at this corner, and we will work our way towards the waterfront. So right in here, we'll just kind of add some concrete and then maybe like a statue or something like that. But the rest of it we are going to be doing in a detailing time lapse. So I will talk to you all in a bit once we have completed the detailing. All right, folks, there we have it. A fully detailed waterfront here, and I really like how this looks. We've kind of left ourselves some hints for the future, but yeah, this needs a bit of work and a ton of time, which I just don't have for this episode to make it look nice. Like this block in particular is what I'm kind of looking for. These smooth, fully, filled blocks. I will work on getting that ready for Monday's episode. Yeah, these nice big condos along the waterfront look fantastic. Got the old museum. We got a park here. We got a pavilion with a bit of green space as well. And I really like this kind of open air museum kind of idea. There's the gates. Maybe you get like a pamphlet or something about the rail history of the city. Then we have our tram turnaround kind of station area over here with our ferry depot. And I added a bit of commercial in here, but we ran out of demand, so we'll have to work on that. But then we get over here, we have a bit of a market area, as well as, a bit of a walking path as well, which this walking path can continue over here via this bridge, and then we'll continue kind of the same kind of idea along this side. But my goodness, this was a lot in today's episode, so I hope you enjoyed. Let's find a nice kind of angle for this waterfront image. And have a wonderful day. Talk to you soon. Join the Discord. Don't want to miss out on all the fun content we have going on over there. Peace out.